The sleek, silver spacecraft descended through Earth's atmosphere, its hull shimmering with an otherworldly iridescence. Inside, Ambassador Zix of the Galactic Confederation felt an unfamiliar sensation in his chest cavity. Was this what humans called nervousness? As the ship touched down in the heart of New Geneva, the global capital, Zix straightened his posture. His elongated frame, covered in smooth blue scales, towered over the human welcoming committee. Taking a deep breath of Earth's oxygen-rich air, he stepped onto the planet's surface for the first time. "Welcome to Earth, Ambassador Zix." A woman with auburn hair and a warm smile greeted him. "I'm Dr. Samantha Chen, your liaison for the duration of your stay." Zix inclined his head, his large, multifaceted eyes taking in every detail of the human before him. "Greetings, Dr. Chen. I am honored to represent the Galactic Confederation in this historic meeting." As they walked towards the imposing structure of the United Earth Embassy, Zix marveled at the diversity of humans around him. Their varied skin tones, heights, and facial features were a stark contrast to the uniformity of his own species. "Tell me, Dr. Chen," Zix said, his voice a melodious hum, "how do you maintain order with such variety among your kind?" Samantha chuckled, a sound that sent ripples of confusion through Zix's sensory receptors. "That's the beauty of humanity, Ambassador. Our diversity is our strength. We've learned to celebrate our differences rather than fear them." Inside the embassy, Zix was introduced to a whirlwind of human customs. He awkwardly shook hands, careful not to exert too much pressure with his superior strength. He observed humans embracing, laughing, and engaging in what they called small talk, a concept entirely foreign to his efficiency-driven species. As the day progressed, Zix found himself increasingly fascinated by human behavior. He watched as a young couple shared a meal, feeding each other and laughing. He observed children playing in a nearby park, their joyful shrieks both alarming and intriguing. During a formal dinner that evening, Zix sat next to a human male named Marcus Reeves, the head of Earth's Technological Development Division. As various dishes were served, Marcus enthusiastically explained each one, encouraging Zix to try them. "You must taste this," Ambassador Marcus said, pushing a plate towards him. "It's called chocolate mousse, one of Earth's finest culinary inventions, if you ask me." Zix hesitated, then carefully scooped a small amount onto his spoon. As the rich, sweet flavor exploded on his taste receptors, his eyes widened in surprise. "This sensation, it's unlike anything on my world. Is this pleasure?" Marcus laughed heartily, clapping Zix on the back, another gesture that startled the alien diplomat. "That's exactly what it is, my friend. Welcome to the world of human indulgence." As the night wore on, Zix found himself overwhelmed by the constant stream of new experiences. The concept of fun was entirely alien to his species, who valued productivity and efficiency above all else. Yet, he couldn't deny the curious warmth that spread through him as he observed the humans' carefree interactions. Retiring to his quarters that night, Zix's mind whirled with new information. He had come to Earth expecting to teach humans about advanced technology and efficient governance. Instead, he found himself questioning everything he had ever known about social interactions and the purpose of existence. As he prepared for rest, Zix caught sight of his reflection in the mirror. For the first time in his life, he wondered what it would be like to smile, to laugh, to experience the joy he had seen on human faces. With a mix of anticipation and trepidation, he realized his stay on Earth would be far more transformative than he had ever imagined. Little did Zix know that his greatest challenge and his greatest revelation was yet to come in the form of an emotion his species had long ago abandoned: love. As the Earth's sun rose, bathing New Geneva in warm light, Zix emerged from his quarters. His first night on the planet had been filled with strange dreams, echoes of laughter and music from the previous evening's dinner party. Dr. Samantha Chen was waiting for him in the embassy's atrium, her smile bright. "Good morning, Ambassador. I hope you slept well. Today we'll be visiting some of Earth's cultural landmarks. Are you ready to explore?" Zix nodded, his scales shimmering in the sunlight. I am prepared, Dr. Chen. Though I must admit, the concept of exploration for non-scientific purposes is unusual to me. As they boarded a sleek hover car, Samantha chuckled. Sometimes, Ambassador, the most valuable discoveries come from unexpected places. Their first stop was the Global Museum of Art. As they walked through halls filled with paintings, sculptures, and interactive holograms, Zix found himself captivated. He stood before a large canvas splashed with vibrant colors, his head tilted in confusion. What is the purpose of this creation? He asked, gesturing to the abstract painting. Samantha stepped closer, her eyes reflecting the artwork's hues. Art isn't always about purpose, Ambassador. It's about expression, emotion, and sometimes simply beauty for beauty's sake. Zix's brow furrowed. But how does one measure its efficiency, its contribution to society? Not everything needs to be measured, Samantha replied softly. Some things are valuable simply because they make us feel. As they continued their tour, Zix found himself struggling to comprehend the human obsession with the intangible. They visited a concert hall where a symphony was rehearsing, the music sending unfamiliar vibrations through his body. In a bustling market square, they sampled foods from around the world, each flavor a new revelation to Zix's refined palate. By midday, they stopped at a small cafe overlooking a serene lake. As they sat down, a young couple at a nearby table caught Zix's attention. The man was on one knee, holding out a small box to the woman, whose hands were covering her mouth in surprise. Dr. Chen, Zix whispered urgently, is that man injured? Should we offer assistance? Samantha followed his gaze and smiled warmly. No, Ambassador. That's a marriage proposal. It's a human custom when one person asks another to be their life partner. Zix watched, fascinated, as the woman nodded enthusiastically, tears streaming down her face as she embraced the man. The cafe erupted in applause, with strangers congratulating the couple. But they appeared to be in distress, Zix noted, perplexed by the woman's tears. Yet everyone seems happy. Those are tears of joy, Ambassador, Samantha explained patiently. Humans can cry when they're extremely happy, not just when they're sad. Zix shook his head, his multifaceted eyes reflecting his confusion. Your species is most perplexing, Dr. Chen. On my world, partnerships are formed based on genetic compatibility and societal benefit. This emotional display seems highly inefficient. Samantha's expression softened. Love isn't about efficiency, Ambassador. It's about connection, about finding someone who makes you want to be a better version of yourself. As they continued their meal, Zix found his gaze repeatedly drawn to the happy couple. He observed their gentle touches, their shared laughter, the way they looked at each other as if nothing else in the world mattered. For the first time, he felt a strange emptiness in his chest, a longing for something he couldn't quite name. Their day concluded with a visit to a local school, where children of various ages were engaged in learning and play. Zix watched in amazement as the youngest humans finger-painted, their small hands covered in vibrant colors as they created abstract masterpieces. But what is the purpose of this activity? He asked a nearby teacher. How does it contribute to their educational development? The teacher smiled kindly. It helps develop their creativity, Ambassador. It teaches them that there's more than one way to see the world, to express themselves. As they left the school, Zix turned to Samantha, his usually composed features showing signs of distress. Dr. Chen, I find myself overwhelmed. Your species places such value on concepts my people discarded generations ago. Emotion, creativity, love. How do you balance these with progress and efficiency? Samantha placed a gentle hand on Zix's arm, an action that sent an unexpected tingle through his scales. Perhaps, Ambassador, true progress isn't just about efficiency. Perhaps it's about finding joy in the journey, not just the destination. As they returned to the embassy, Zix's mind was a whirlwind of new ideas and unfamiliar sensations. He had come to Earth to teach, but he was beginning to realize he had much to learn, and as he bid Samantha goodnight, he felt a strange flutter in his chest, a sensation that both thrilled and terrified him. Little did Zix know that this day was just the beginning of a journey that would challenge everything he thought he knew about life, love, and what it truly means to be alive. As days turned into weeks, Zix found himself increasingly drawn to the complexities of human interaction. His daily meetings with Dr. Samantha Chen became the highlight of his Earth experience, each moment spent with her revealing new facets of humanity he had never considered before. One crisp autumn morning, Samantha suggested a walk through the city's Central Park. As they strolled along leaf-strewn paths, Zix marveled at the changing colors of the foliage, a sight unseen on his monochromatic homeworld. Dr. Chen, Zix began, his voice carrying a hint of uncertainty, I find myself experiencing unfamiliar sensations in your presence. My heart rate increases, and I feel an inexplicable warmth. Is this a normal reaction to Earth's atmosphere? Samantha's cheeks flushed a delicate pink, a change that Zix found oddly captivating. Well, Ambassador, she replied, her voice softer than usual. Those symptoms sound less like an atmospheric reaction and more like attraction. Zix halted abruptly, his multifaceted eyes widening. Attraction? But that's impossible. My species eliminated such inefficient emotions centuries ago. Samantha turned to face him, her expression a mix of amusement and something deeper, more complex. Emotions aren't always about efficiency, Zix. Sometimes they're about connection, about finding meaning beyond mere existence. As they continued their walk, Zix found himself hyper-aware of Samantha's presence. The way the sunlight caught her auburn hair, the sound of her laughter, the graceful movement of her hands as she spoke, all of it captivated him in ways he couldn't rationally explain. Their path led them to a small pond where couples were rowing in tiny boats. Without thinking, Zix reached out and took Samantha's hand in his own, marveling at the warmth of her skin against his cool scales. Dr. Chen, Samantha, he said, his voice uncharacteristically hesitant, I believe I'm experiencing what humans call feelings for you. This is most unexpected and, frankly, quite alarming. Samantha squeezed his hand gently, sending a jolt of electricity through his body. Feelings aren't something to be alarmed about, Zix. They're what make us, well, human. Or in your case, what make you more than just an efficient machine. As they stood there, hand in hand, Zix felt a profound shift within himself. The logical, efficiency-driven part of his mind warred with these new, powerful emotions. He knew that pursuing these feelings could jeopardize his mission, his standing among his own people. Yet, for the first time in his life, he found himself willing to risk everything for something he couldn't quantify or rationalize. Their moment was interrupted by the sudden blaring of sirens. Emergency vehicles sped past the park, their lights flashing urgently. Samantha's communication device buzzed with an incoming message. There's been an incident at the embassy, she said, her face grave. We need to go back immediately. As they rushed back, Zix's mind raced. He had come to Earth as an ambassador, tasked with evaluating humanity's readiness to join the Galactic Confederation. Now, he found himself torn between duty and desire, between the cold logic of his upbringing and the warm, chaotic emotions Samantha had awakened in him. Arriving at the embassy, they found the building surrounded by security forces. Marcus Reeves, the head of Earth's technological division, met them at the entrance, his face etched with concern. We've detected an unauthorized transmission leaving Earth, Marcus explained hurriedly. It contained sensitive information about our defense systems. The source was traced back to the embassy. Zix felt a chill run through him. You suspect someone from the Galactic Confederation? Marcus nodded grimly. We're not pointing fingers, but we need answers, Ambassador. This could jeopardize everything we've been working towards. As security teams swarmed the building, Zix found himself at a crossroads. His loyalty to his people warred with his growing attachment to Earth and its inhabitants, particularly Samantha. For the first time, He understood the human concept of being torn. Samantha placed a hand on his arm, her touch both comforting and electrifying. "Zix, we need your help. Please, if you know anything." Looking into her eyes, Zix made a decision that would change the course of his life and potentially the relationship between Earth and the Galactic Confederation. With a deep breath, he prepared to bridge the gap between two worlds, guided by an emotion he was only beginning to understand. "I will do everything in my power to uncover the truth," he said, his voice filled with a new determination. "For Earth, for the Confederation, and for you, Samantha." As they entered the embassy to begin their investigation, Zix knew that nothing would ever be the same. He had come to Earth to evaluate humanity, but in the process, he was discovering his own humanity, with all its messy, beautiful, inefficient glory. The embassy buzzed with frantic activity as human and alien diplomats alike scrambled to understand the breach. Zix found himself in the center of a storm, torn between his duty to the Galactic Confederation and his growing loyalty to Earth and to Samantha. Marcus led them to a secure room filled with holographic displays and humming computers. "Our best tech experts are working on tracing the transmission," he explained, his fingers flying over a translucent keyboard. "But whoever did this knew our systems well. They've left almost no trace." Zix studied the scrolling data, his alien mind processing the information faster than any human could. "This encryption, it's unlike anything I've seen before. It's not Confederation technology." Samantha leaned in, her brow furrowed. Could it be a third party? Someone trying to sabotage the alliance between Earth and the Confederation? As they debated possibilities, a young human technician burst into the room, her eyes wide with excitement. "Dr. Chen, Mr. Rees, Ambassador, I think I found something." The technician, introduced as Area Zong, pulled up a complex web of data on the main screen. "I've been running an analysis on the transmission pattern, and there's something odd about it. It's not just carrying data, there's a hidden signal embedded within." Zix tilted his head, his multifaceted eyes reflecting the holographic display. "Fascinating. This reminds me of an old Confederation technique, hiding messages within messages." Marcus snapped his fingers. "Of course, it's like steganography, hiding data within other data. But why? And who would have access to both Earth and Confederation techniques?" As the team worked tirelessly, Zix found himself marveling at the humans' approach to problem-solving. Where his people would have methodically worked through every possibility, the humans seemed to leap intuitively from one idea to the next, building on each other's thoughts in a chaotic yet effective brainstorm. Hours passed, with team members coming and going, bringing coffee and snacks. Zix observed the easy camaraderie between the humans, the way they supported each other with a touch on the shoulder or a word of encouragement. It was inefficient, yes, but also beautiful. As dawn broke, Area let out a triumphant shout. "I've got it. The hidden signal. It's not just carrying data, it's a beacon." The room erupted in a flurry of activity. Marcus pulled up a galactic map, tracing the signal's trajectory. "It's headed towards the Orion Arm, but there's nothing out there. At least, nothing in our records." Zix felt a chill run through him. There wouldn't be. That sector is restricted, even to most of the Confederation. It's where we conduct our most sensitive research. Samantha turned to him, her eyes wide. "Zix, what aren't you telling us?" Feeling the weight of every eye in the room, Zix made a decision that he knew would change everything. The Confederation, we're not just a peaceful alliance of species. We're also preparing for a threat, one that we've kept hidden from potential member worlds. The room fell silent as Zix explained about the Void Eaters, a mysterious force consuming entire star systems at the edge of the galaxy. The Confederation had been secretly developing weapons and strategies to combat this existential threat. "But this doesn't make sense," Marcus interjected. "Why steal Earth's defense plans? They'd be useless against something like that." Area, who had been quietly working through the data, suddenly gasped. "Unless they're not stealing the plans, they're studying them. Look at this." She pulled up a comparison between Earth's defense systems and the stolen data. The differences were subtle but significant. Improvements, adaptations that made the Earth technology more effective against large-scale threats. Samantha's eyes lit up with understanding. They're not trying to weaken us. They're learning from us. But why the secrecy? Zix felt a mix of pride and shame wash over him. Because, Dr. Chen, the Confederation doesn't believe that younger species like humanity have anything to teach us. This is unprecedented. As the implications sank in, the mood in the room shifted from tension to excitement. Humans and aliens alike began to see the possibilities of true collaboration, of combining the Confederation's advanced technology with humanity's innovative thinking. Marcus clapped his hands together. Right, people, we've got work to do. Let's show the Confederation what humanity can really do. As the team threw themselves into their new mission with renewed vigor, Zix found himself watching Samantha. Her eyes shone with determination and intelligence, her mind working through problems with a creativity that both baffled and impressed him. In that moment, Zix realized that he had fallen in love not just with Samantha, but with humanity itself, its resilience, its ingenuity, its unrelenting optimism in the face of overwhelming odds. And he knew, with a certainty that defied all logic, that he would do whatever it took to bridge the gap between his world and hers. As the sun rose over New Geneva, casting a golden light over the bustling embassy, Zix allowed himself a very human smile. The future was uncertain, filled with both danger and promise. But for the first time in his long life, he was excited to face that future, not alone, but hand in hand with the remarkable species he had come to admire and love. As Earth's team worked tirelessly to develop new strategies against the Void Eaters, Zix found himself in an unprecedented position. He was now a bridge between two worlds, translating complex Confederation concepts for the humans while advocating for Earth's innovative approaches to his superiors. One evening, as the team took a rare break, Zix received an urgent communication from the Confederation. His hands trembled slightly as he activated the holographic display, Samantha standing supportively by his side. The stern face of High Counselor Vex materialized before them. Ambassador Zix, the counselor's voice crackled with barely contained anger, you have exceeded your authority. Your mission was to evaluate Earth, not to reveal our most closely guarded secrets. Zix straightened, feeling a surge of unfamiliar defiance. With respect, High Counselor, I believe this collaboration is our best hope against the Void Eaters. Humanity has shown remarkable. Enough, Vex interrupted. The Council has made its decision. You are to return immediately. Earth will be dealt with. As the transmission cut off, a heavy silence fell over the room. Samantha's hand found Zix, squeezing it gently. What did he mean by dealt with? She asked, her voice barely above a whisper. Zix's multifaceted eyes reflected a mix of fear and determination. In the past, when a species was deemed a potential threat, the Confederation would neutralize them. But I won't let that happen. Not to Earth. Not to you. Marcus, who had overheard the exchange, stepped forward. So what do we do now? We can't just sit back and wait for them to deal with us. Aria, the young technician who had become an integral part of their team, spoke up. What if we could show them? Not just tell them, but actually demonstrate how our combined approach is more effective. A spark of an idea formed in Zix's mind. The research outpost in the Orion Arm. If we could get there, we might be able to prove the value of our collaboration. But how? Samantha asked. We don't have a ship capable of that kind of journey. Marcus grinned, a mischievous glint in his eye. Maybe not yet, but give us a few days, and we just might. What followed was a whirlwind of activity. Earth's best engineers worked around the clock, combining their technology with the advanced systems on Zix's diplomatic vessel. It was a testament to human ingenuity and determination, fueled by the very real threat of annihilation. As the newly modified ship prepared for launch, Zix found himself facing a difficult decision. I cannot ask you to come with me, he said to Samantha, his voice heavy with emotion. The journey will be dangerous, and the Confederation may view it as an act of aggression. Samantha cupped his face in her hands, a gesture that still sent thrills through his alien body. Zix, we're in this together. Earth, the Confederation, you and me. We'll face whatever comes as one. The launch was conducted in secrecy, away from the prying eyes of both Earth's media and any potential Confederation spies. As the ship broke through Earth's atmosphere, Zix felt a mix of exhilaration and trepidation. He was, in essence, betraying his people for the sake of a world he had come to love. Their journey through the stars was fraught with tension. Every moment, they expected to be intercepted by Confederation forces, but Zix's intimate knowledge of patrol routes and Aria's brilliant cloaking modifications kept them undetected. As they approached the research outpost, a massive structure floating in the void of space, alarms suddenly blared through the ship. Multiple contacts incoming. Marcus shouted from the navigation console. Confederation ships, and something else. Something big. On the view screen, a terrifying sight unfolded. A swarm of Confederation battleships engaged in combat with a massive, shadowy entity that seemed to devour light itself. The Void Eaters had arrived. "We're too late," Zix whispered, his voice filled with despair. But Samantha gripped his hand, her eyes blazing with determination. "No, we're right on time. This is our chance to show them what we can do together." As their small ship plunged into the heart of the battle, Zix realized that this moment would define not just his life, but the future of two civilizations. With Samantha by his side and the combined ingenuity of humanity and the Confederation at his fingertips, he prepared to face the greatest threat the galaxy had ever known. The fate of worlds hung in the balance, and in that moment, Zix understood that love, for a person, for a species, for life itself, was the most powerful force in the universe. The void of space erupted into a kaleidoscope of weapon fire and swirling darkness as Zix's small ship plunged into the heart of the battle. The Void Eaters, massive entities of shadow and hunger, loomed ominously against the backdrop of stars, their very presence seeming to dim the light around them. "This is Ambassador Zix to all Confederation ships," Zix broadcast on all frequencies. "We bring vital information and technology from Earth. Cease fire and allow us to approach." For a tense moment, there was no response. Then, a familiar voice crackled through the comm system. "Ambassador, you are in violation of direct orders." High Counselor Vex's voice was strained. "Explain yourself immediately." As Zix began to speak, Samantha stepped forward. "This is Dr. Samantha Chen of Earth. We've developed a new defense system by combining our technology with Confederation principles. Let us help." There was a pause, filled only by the sounds of distant explosions and the eerie, subsonic hum of the Void Eaters. Finally, Vex responded, "Approach the command ship. Quickly." As they maneuvered through the chaos, Aria worked feverishly at her console. "I'm interfacing our systems with the Confederation network now," she reported. "Marcus, are you ready with a targeting solution?" Marcus nodded grimly, his hands flying over the controls. "Ready as we'll ever be. Let's hope this works." Their ship docked with the massive Confederation command vessel. As they rushed through the airlock, they were met by a contingent of stern-faced alien officials, led by High Counselor Vex himself. "This had better be worth the risk, Ambassador," Vex growled, his multiple eyes narrowing in suspicion. Zix stood tall, gesturing to his human companions. "Counselor, what we've discovered on Earth could change everything. Their approach to problem-solving, their creativity, it's unlike anything in the Confederation. Combined with our technology, it might be our only hope against the Void Eaters." As if to emphasize his point, the ship shuddered under the assault of the cosmic horrors outside. Samantha stepped forward, her voice calm but urgent. "We don't have time for suspicion or politics. Every moment we delay, more lives are lost. Let us show you what we can do together." Perhaps it was the desperation of the moment, Or perhaps something in Samantha's words resonated with the alien leader. Whatever the reason, Vex nodded curtly. Proceed. What followed was a flurry of activity as human and alien minds worked in tandem. Aria and Marcus integrated their systems with the Confederation's vast network, while Samantha and Zix explained the principles behind their new approach. The key is adaptability, Samantha explained, pointing to a holographic display of the Void Eaters. Your weapons are powerful, but static. Our system allows for real-time adjustments based on the enemy's behavior. Zix continued, by combining Earth's neural network algorithms with Confederation quantum technology, we can predict and counter the Void Eaters' movements faster than they can react. As understanding dawned on the faces of the Confederation leaders, a new sense of hope filled the command center. Orders were given, and the combined human-alien defense system came online. The effect was immediate and dramatic. The erratic, almost organic movements of the human-designed system caught the Void Eaters off guard. Weapons fire that had previously been absorbed or dodged now found their marks with unerring accuracy. For the first time since the battle began, the tide started to turn. One by one, the Void Eaters began to falter, their shadowy forms dissipating under the onslaught of the newly empowered Confederation fleet. As the last of the cosmic horrors faded from existence, a cheer went up throughout the ship, a chorus of voices, human and alien alike, united in victory and relief. In the aftermath, as the adrenaline of battle faded, Zix found himself standing before the Confederation Council, Samantha by his side. High Counselor Vex regarded them with a mix of wariness and newfound respect. Ambassador Zix, Dr. Chen, he began, his voice solemn, it seems we owe you, and Earth, a great debt. Your actions today have saved countless lives and opened our eyes to new possibilities. Samantha stepped forward, her head held high. We don't seek debt or gratitude, Counselor. We seek partnership. Earth is ready to join the galactic community to face whatever challenges lie ahead, together. Vex nodded slowly, a hint of a smile on his alien features. Indeed, it seems we have much to learn from each other. Ambassador Zix, your new mission is clear. You will serve as the bridge between our peoples, fostering this new era of cooperation and understanding. As the council chambers erupted in applause, Zix turned to Samantha, his multifaceted eyes shimmering with emotion. It seems, Dr. Chen, that I will be staying on Earth a while longer. Samantha's smile was radiant as she took his hand in hers. I can't think of a better outcome, Ambassador. We have a whole universe to explore, together. As they looked out at the stars, no longer separated by species or ideology, Zix marveled at the journey that had brought him to this moment. He had come to Earth as an observer, detached and logical. He was leaving as something more, a being capable of love, of passion, of seeing the beauty in the chaotic dance of life. In the end, it wasn't just Earth that had been changed by this encounter. Zix, the Confederation, the very fabric of galactic society had been transformed. And as he stood there, hand in hand with Samantha, Zix knew that the greatest adventures, for himself, for humanity, and for the entire galaxy, were just beginning. The universe, vast and mysterious, stretched out before them, a canvas of infinite possibilities, waiting to be explored by this new alliance of hearts and minds.